Breaking the 7 seals of long-distance shooting. If you like shooting rifle, the next fun and rewarding step is long-distance shooting. Take what you know of practice up to 100, 200, 300 yards and then move it up to 500 to 1,000 yards and beyond. Whether you are a hunter or a newbie or practicing to be the next American sniper, long-distance precision shooting is fun, challenging and rewarding, and will require you to combine your body, mind and spirit all together. For me, long distance shooting starts at about 500 yards and anything beyond that. After much research, we produced this very sophisticated chart which illustrates the relationship between difficulty and distance. Up to 500 yards, shooting gets progressively more difficult. Beyond 500 yards, it gets exponentially more difficult. And beyond 1,000 yards, its difficulty level shoots through the roof. Now that you have the right setup, as we discussed in our last video, time to have fun and shoot. However, to reach bliss, it takes patience, focus, and learning. With those, you can learn to shoot consistently well at 500 yards, 1,000 yards, and beyond. Problem solving and puzzles. A lot of the fun involves problem solving and solving puzzles. All the pieces need to come together. So when something goes wrong, and it will happen very often, you need to be able to figure out what went wrong and be able to fix it. Every detail matters. And this is why long distance shooting is so challenging and fun. Every variation will be expanded exponentially as the distance increases. For example, a movement in your rifle of about 5,000 of an inch, which is about the thickness of a human hair, will result 1,000 yards in a potential miss by about 27 inches. Shooting position. You can shoot from a bench at the range or you can shoot prone. Both of them will work, you just will have to practice each of them. Once you're comfortable and your shooting is consistent, you can also use a tripod. But that brings an extra layer of complexity and therefore learning and practice. My preferred position is prone. It is stable, it helps with recoil, and it's more discreet. It is not Hollywood, so you need to be aligned with your rifle, with no body parts towards the side of the rifle. This will help a lot with stability and will also help with recoil because your whole body is going to be behind the rifle. Also, you need to use a rear bag. The idea is to use your left hand or your right hand if you're a lefty to squeeze the bag in and out to make very small adjustments to your aim. Remember, 5,000ths of an inch movement means 27 inches at 1,000 yards. Squeeze and your aim will go up. Let go and your aim will go down. If you try to move your rifle manually, you will end up shooting in a different zip code. Hold, breathe, and squeeze. You need to be both firm and gentle with your rifle. You need a firm hold to manage recoil, and yet you can't grab your rifle as you're gonna just end up moving things around. I highly recommend having your thumb stay on the side of the rifle, not using it to grab the rifle. Primary goal with that hand is not to hold and grab the rifle, it's really the hand is there to support gently the finger that will squeeze the trigger. Breathing control is important. Your body is most stable when your lungs are not completely full or completely empty. So no and no. What I do is I inhale normally and then I let go of just a little bit of air, and then from then I know I've got about 3 to 5 seconds of stability to make the shot. If after that time you're not comfortable making the shot, then don't do it, start again. As to the trigger pull, it has to be a gentle, progressive pull. After the shot, keep your trigger back, then release it. If you have a two-stage trigger, which I would recommend, squeeze the trigger gently until you hit a wall, a bit of a resistance. You are now at the second stage, and a very small, gentle pull will trigger the shot. Zeroing the rifle. Whether you are shooting your first shots with your brand new rifle and you're very excited, or just going back to the range, you need to set and check your zero. Most of the time I zero my rifle at 100 yards because most rangers will have targets at 100 yards for you to check your zero. Actually, most rangers will require you to check your zero at 100 yards before you shoot at further distances. Even if you shot your rifle very recently, you still have to check your zero whenever you go to the range, because the zero might move slightly just by moving the rifle around. Whether it's packing it, putting it in your truck, or hugging it, or putting it in bed next to you. Here, in summary, the steps to set or check the zero. First, before you go to any range, do a zero bore sight. It can be done anywhere where you have a distance of 15 to 25 yards and it doesn't require any actual shooting and therefore no waste of ammunition. Bore sighting will not give you a perfect or great zero, but it will help making sure your shots are on target. If you cannot see the misses, and there will be always misses, then you can't make the appropriate adjustments because you won't know what the adjustments that are needed. It's a complete waste of time and ammunition. Now that we have bore sighted, let's go to strategic edge, one of my favorite long distance shooting range. 2 or 3 shots at the time, and then I evaluate the results. If the groups are spread wide, the issue is the shooter, the issue is you. So probably from excitement or lack of focus. So relax, take a cold shower if you need to, and then start again. Now, if your groups are tight, but they're off where you're aiming at, it means that the zero on your rifle is off and you need appropriate adjustments until your aim is on the center of the target with a tight group. This might take several steps. When you get this tight and right at center of target, your zero is set. So now you need to adjust the turrets to reset the zero. Setting a ballistic chart. Now that your rifle is zeroed, you need to create a ballistic chart so you can predict what will happen to the trajectory of the bullet over long distances. Your bullets will do this. So you need to be able to predict, among other things, the drop on elevation as the distance gets bigger. The best way to do that is to create a ballistic chart, sometimes referred to as a dope card, for that specific rifle using that specific bullet. If you use a bullet from a different brand, a different ballistic profile, different weight, you will need to set up a dope card for each of the bullet types because they will perform differently even if shot from the same barrel. The easiest way to do that is to use a ballistic app. There are many good ones up there. Personally, I use Shooter. First, you create a profile for your rifle. Then you create a profile for that specific bullet ammo type. This will give you a basic ballistic profile from which you can predict bullet drop variations over longer distances. However, this is the theory, so when you go shooting, you need to compare and measure actual data to compare it to the profile you set up so you can adjust your profile so it reflects real-life data. One key factor in doing real-life adjustment to your dope card is to know the actual speed of your bullet when it leaves your rifle. Every ammo will come with setup by the brand manufacturer, but this speed will vary a lot depending on the length of your barrel, but also will vary depending on each barrels. Barrels have their own specific personality. So even two barrels from the same brand and the same length are not going to perform exactly the same way. There are several tools available to measure the speed of your bullets, and obviously you need to shoot a few range to get an average speed, and hopefully it will have only minor variations. Here we go! At the range, shooting long distances. So first step, check the distance to your target. And in most ranges, it will actually be indicated. If not indicated, then you're gonna have to use a rangefinder or learn to estimate distances from your scope. Now that you know the distance, look at your ballistic profile and adjust the turret to make the appropriate compensation. Then bang! Awesome! Oops, you missed. One common issue is that you did not correct appropriately for the wind. The wind is one of the most important and challenging factors. It changes all the time in speed and direction. And actually, when you shoot really long distance, you can have different wind speed at different directions at different distances on the way to the target. There's no, unfortunately, any magic trick for the wind.
Magic.
You need to learn by practicing a lot. A wind reader will help, but it's not a magic potion. In conclusion, a lot of factors, a lot of learning, and a lot of practice. Hopefully, even the first steps were great, but it does get better and better. Different days, different conditions, different ammo, your own different mood will always keep it fun and challenging. There are not many things better than feeling the zen of being in sync with your rifle and then preparing and executing a great shot. And the best part is after a few seconds, you hear the ping of your bullet hitting still 1,000 yards away. Awesome.